She said, baby, why you so low-key? Never seen you up in these streets. She a baddie running game on me. So they be really working OT. You're trying to get to know me, but I don't wanna budge, no. I can tell that she a freak, it's a freak that she wants, so you know the vibes, it's mine, no time for solos. You already know, when I pull up on the curb, you know we have to keep it gangsta for true. You told your girls that I'm a dub, then you looked me in my eyes and said, you're mine, no. You're mine, no. Fuck these other bitches, are you dumb? For real, see, I know you wanna. What is this? Witness this. You didn't turn you on, now she wanna get it on. She a freak in the sheets, ain't nobody here for creep. So I don't mind if you wanna spend some time. Whoa. She know we have to keep it gangsta for true. You told your girls that I'm a dub, then you look me in my eyes and said, you're mine, you are mine, no. You're mine, you are mine, no. The fuck these other bitches, are you dumb? That's why that you're a freak. You've been a freak of the week, but you're still a lady in these streets. But I know you a freak. You've been a freak like me, but I just want some more. You told your friends that I'm a dub, then you look them in the eyes and said, he's just a vibe, he's that guy, but he made me shy and cry. I wonder why. Oh Lord, she's a freak. You've been a freak of the week, but you're still a lady in these streets. But I know you a freak. You've been a freak like me, but I just want some more. You told your friends that I'm a dub, then you look them in the eyes and say, he's just a vibe, he's that guy, but he made me shy and cry. I wonder why. Oh Lord, she's a. She said, baby, why you so low-key? Never seen you up in these streets. She a baddie running game on me, so they be really working OT. You're trying to get to know me, but I don't wanna budge, no. I can tell that she a freak, it's a freak that she wants, so you know the vibes, it's mine, no time for solos. You already know, when I pull up on the curb, you know we have to keep it gangsta for true.
It does kill good.
You made the decision to play Thiago. Klopp doesn't change the system, so move back left. You don't want to change from the 4-3.
Boom! What's going on, people? We're back again on the Jerry James Show. And before I get into it, man, I was vibes. Big up to John. See, John the II. Yeah, the creative mastermind before all, the creative mastermind behind all the sounds you hear on GTV and Jerry James Show. This is the man right here, and he dropped another banger. And I know you guys are feeling it in the comments. Haven't even got into it yet, but we got a big up John for that one. We've also got an announcement to make, me and G, man. We've got a massive announcement, like huge. Like, we're so gassed about this announcement, and we will be dropping it. But I just gave you a little teaser. You heard John's music. I'm talking about G, myself. It's going to be crazy. But listen, stay tuned for that one. We're dropping it soon. But big up to everyone in the building. Welcome to the show, as always. Before we get into it, make sure, guys, you are smashing the like. Yeah, that's your ticket to entry, please. Just smash the like. We're en route to 1 million subscribers. That's what we're streaming. That's what we're saying. Of course, keep it respectful in the chat, as always. I mean, everyone's opinions are welcome. And I know this topic right now, it's going to get a bit sticky. It's going to get a bit sticky when we're talking about a certain number 14, a certain skipper. People got their own opinions, so we have to make sure that we are respectful with I mean, and we're honest. We're honest about the situation also. You all right? And guys, please, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Please subscribe. And let's get into it. I'm going to get into you guys in the comments first, as always, because you guys are the OGs. You guys are the main guys. And yeah, we'll go from there, man. We'll go from there. But look, a lot to talk about. We've got Ends, man, in the building. Big up to Ends. Make sure we're heading over there and subscribing. We've got PL Ryan in the building saying big up, people. I'm seeing a lot of good vibes. Mad interesting. Captain Sow in the building saying it's great news if Henderson goes. Yeah, we're going to get into it, man. Is it not? We'll chop it up. We've got Greens in the building as well saying the tune, JJ. Big up to Redbird as well. Greens is saying the tune. I just told you what the tune was. This is John. This is unreleased John, though. That's the thing. This is unreleased John. So if you want to get unreleased John, you got to make sure you're hitting up the Jerry James Show, and you're going to have to. I mean, and you're going to get exclusives. And when he blows up, you guys are going to be like, look, I heard it here first. And that's the way to do it, man. We've got Yuvraj as well. Diwali, big up to Yuvraj. Hope you're doing well. We've got KLFC in the building. Who else we got? We got Alexander. Big up to Alexander. Hope you're doing well. We got MUFC Kaz. Big up to Kaz. from Never a Foul. Yeah, I mean, big up to the Never a Foul community as well. We got Angel 1968 in the building saying, look, if Hendo goes and Millie gone, will Allison be captain? Listen, there's a lot to talk about, man. Big up to Cash, man like Cash in the building, saying Hendo as a squad option is worth keeping. We got Honesty in the building. Also, we got Gary Richards. We got a lot of people coming in, man. And look, we're going to get into it together. So I thought, why not? Let's get the tweet up that I went and saw, right? It's not working now. Yeah, but we're going to get the tweet up and we're going to go through it together. So it's not just me chatting nonsense. I'm going to get the primary sources, right? The primary sources out. Yeah, I miss uni, man. Talking about primary, secondary sources. Crazy. But yeah, we're going to get into it now. I'm going to share my screen with you people. Just give me 2 seconds to load it up. But this is massive news, man. Massive news. Oh, who's this? Who's this? Whoa. Sorry, I just got some mad news. And who is this? Oh, okay. Yeah, apparently Liverpool have got rid of Elijah Gift. I don't know if you guys have heard. Sorry, you got me shook for a moment. But yeah, Elijah Gift looks like, yeah, and he'll be leaving. But cool, hold on, there we go. Cool, I got it now. Hold on. All right. Beautiful, people. Beautiful. 2 seconds. Let's go. Sharing the screen now. So, people. So, about 5 hours ago, about 5 hours ago, we're seeing this. Dave O'Cott, big up Dave O'Cott, saying, look, Jordan Henderson is open to a move to Saudi Arabia. Listen, after speculation, everyone's seen the meme, you know, Henderson, a massive head upon these, small Saudi player shoulders. It's Benzema's shoulders in that black and yellow striped kit. I think it's Al Hilal. I might be wrong with the team. People have wanted this, man. Have wanted this move. A lot of people have been screaming for this, especially on the socials, on Twitter. And this came as a surprise because at first we've seen, Jordan Henderson, he's looking like to be part of a squad. It was reported by James Pearce. He's not moving anywhere. Dave O'Cott comes out today, blank, that straight up statement. Jordan Henderson is open to a move to Saudi Arabia. This is just straight up. These are no quotation marks or nothing. As you can see here, exclusive, Jordan Henderson is open to move to Saudi Arabia. It goes on to say it would see a reunion between Jordan Henderson and Steven Gerrard should the transfer materialize. We're going on. We're clicking into it, people. We're clicking into it, and you guys can see this. Hopefully, yeah, you can't. I'm gonna have to share the screen again. But it's crazy because we're gonna actually read the whole article. Yeah, crazy. There we go. Fantastic. Yeah, you guys, let me just get rid of all these pop-ups. Pop-ups are sold so 2000, man. There it is, man. Look, picture of Jordan Henderson there. This dropped today. So this is fresh news saying, look, Al Ettifaq are attempting to sign Jordan Henderson in an ambitious move from Liverpool. Steven Gerrard recently took over as manager. We've all seen that, of the Saudi Pro League side. El Atifir, welcome. Like doing that thing. Worst Arabic I have gone and heard. Where's the temp? But hey, you tried it. Can't do you know what I mean? Can't get on the man for trying. As we said, look, Steven Gerrard recently took over as manager of the Saudi Pro League side, and the former Liverpool legend wants to bring the current captain of Liverpool to Dammam. El Ettifaq have yet to make an official offer for Jordan Henderson, but have held negotiations with intermediaries testing the waters. That's really, really interesting. The same thing happened with the Soboslai deal, if you remember. The feedback the club has received is that Jordan Henderson is open to the idea of a move to the Middle East. A transfer fee has yet to be discussed. Henderson is one of the top earners at the club, and his departure would free up funds for an additional midfielder this window. Negotiations have been taking place for a number of weeks now. Really, really interesting. It is believed that Liverpool would be open to the departure of the skipper. Wow. You know, recently a lot of talk about, you know, the departure of Thiago. Let me change that. It says we'll be live shortly. We're not be live shortly. What are we talking about? Let me just change that there. Subscribe, people. As we're saying, a lot of talk about Thiago going to the Saudi side. I've discussed it on this channel. Myself, G, and Ram's been in here as well. And we discussed saying, yeah, we'd be open to it. I don't think he's been as effective as people make out. A very, very talented player, not available for enough games. And he's not good enough to go and warrant him just sticking around, in my opinion. This isn't a Mbappe-esque type of talent that's a game changer. He doesn't change the game. He doesn't win games for us. He controls games at times, not as well as I think I would have hoped. But hey, look, great player to have. And at the time of signing, I don't think anyone thought this. This is obviously us speaking in hindsight. Nonetheless, you know, the 40 million deal, no one's talking about that right now. It looks like Jordan Henderson's name is on the cards. And especially if he's open to it, does open up the possibility of him actually moving to the Saudi Pro League. Now, one would have to question, it's quite early on in his career. So for him to move to Saudi Arabia, especially for British players, we see it with foreign players a lot. We saw it with the emergence of the Chinese Super League, the likes of Oscar, Hulk, Talisca later on. Who else? The guy from Shakhtar Donetsk, we were linked with. Alex Teixeira or someone like that, or Torreira, whatever his name was, from Shakhtar Donetsk over to the Chinese league. We saw that move a lot. Demba Ba, another one as well, Fellaini later on. For Henderson to do this would be really, really interesting. It would probably be one of the first types of moves we'd see abroad, especially at a young age. In comparison, obviously we've seen moves to the MLS before, but Henderson's not 37, 38 years old. I mean, Milner was still in our squad at this age comfortably. So to see this move is really, really interesting. Not only that, this is a guy that's been at Liverpool for what? 10 years now? 11 seasons? Won everything there is to win at Liverpool. Is arguably, I know it's said and done, I know people want him gone, but ultimately he will go down as a legend at this club for what he's won, what he's been able to achieve. And yes, there were other cogs that helped him do that, but this is a team sport. This is a team sport, and he was the captain, the skipper of this team. So his influence can't be, undermined as a whole. But currently the questions, and I know a lot of you guys have this question, is he good enough still to be the star at Liverpool? Is he good enough to be on the bench at Liverpool? Is he good enough to just be in the squad? How valuable is he as a player right now in the squad? We saw even last season, still played about 30-odd games, so played a lot of games for Liverpool. We're not talking about a player that, is only playing 10 games, and he's a massive part of this team, and he is, and he's a leader. He's the leader of this team. He's a skipper. And the question is now, does he go? Does he go, man? I mean, I'm going to be honest. I'll be so shocked if Henderson goes. I'd be so shocked because this is so far removed from everything that Klopp has spoken about. His admiration for Henderson. Henderson signed an extension 2 seasons ago, people. We're talking about a player that's admired, around the AXA training ground and at Anfield. Does a lot for the community as well. And I know on socials, there's a massive kind of agenda against Henderson, rightfully or wrongfully. He is ultimately loved by the majority of fans, I would say. That's not to say I don't want him to potentially move on, or I don't want him to start games. But this is a person that's been important for Liverpool's success. And we've seen a lot of these key figures leaving. And it's coming in such a short period of time because this should have been done over time. But the likes of Mane, Firmino, Naby Keita, Henderson, Milner, massive components of our team are leaving just like that. How does that work? For the structure of Liverpool. Really, really, really interesting, man. Really interesting. The question is, why would he move to Saudi Arabia? Would he not think he could do a job at someone at the Premier League level, maybe mid-table? But then the money that they're going to offer, he'd end up definitely being one of the best paid players out in the Saudi League because of his stature. And boy, you'll make a lot of money. But look, man, I need to know what you guys are saying about this, man. I need to know what you guys are saying. As we've seen before, Captain Sal saying that it's great news if Henderson goes. Yeah. You're saying, look, number 14 might leave. Kay saying Stevie G with the assist. We've got Redbird saying, come on, Stevie. Kaz with the eyes. 100%, man. Big up to Honesty saying, look, if Hendo leaves, of course I'm going to be happy. His time is done. But only thing that annoys me is the disrespect Hendo gets. Even rival fans don't respect him like LFC fans do. It's really interesting, actually. I think there was a point where rival fans got onto Henderson more than we did. But I think it shifted as of recently. I think if you spoke to a Kaz, if you spoke to someone else, they'd speak to you about Henderson. They'd probably give him props. They'd give him more props than a lot of fans on socials. Because when an agenda happens or when you want someone to go, at that point, you just don't care, isn't it? So it's like, I'm going to chuck this one out. At Kaz, if he's still in the building. Bruno Fernandes, right? I don't think he's a fan of Bruno Fernandes like that. Right? As a player, he's just not. I'm a massive fan. I think he's very good, very effective, massive, so important for United. But I'm not a United fan at the end of the day. So, A, my opinion doesn't really matter. And B, I'm looking at it from a different perspective. And I think a lot of fans would say the same thing about Henderson. We're not saying, look, he's a world-class world beater. No. But people will tell you he's important to that side. And he's pulled out a lot of important performances. And yes, last season wasn't the greatest, but it wasn't the greatest for everyone. So I think that's important to remember. And look, he had a massive role to play in what we did at the back end of last season as well. Played a lot of games. His minutes were getting reduced, so that is something to look at. But still, really, really interesting. Angel here with a question. Look, if Hendo goes and Millie gone, will Alisson be captain? I mean, it's probably going to be Virgil van Dijk. If Virgil van Dijk, he was the second in command or the third in command after Henderson. Well, he was the second in command when Milner wasn't playing, although Milner was the vice. It's him and then Salah. It was Gini Wijnaldum, but Gini's gone now. Is Trent part of that team? Is it Alisson? I'm not too sure, but I'm not really a fan of goalkeepers being captains. I don't think they can communicate as well to the whole team. I do think it needs to be someone on the pitch. Nonetheless, look, that's potentially an option. And what does that do to the leadership squad? Like, does this type of move make the likes of Trent and Robbo, etc., step up, or do they shrink now? And that's going to be really interesting because being that voice on the pitch sometimes it is difficult. It is difficult. A lot of people, many players can't do that. Even Steven Gerrard, he relied a lot on Jamie Carragher to be the captain. Jamie was the one barking, orders, speaking for Gerrard, and Gerrard was then able to just focus on himself and lead by example. Now Henderson's more in the mold of a Jamie Carragher, but you do need that, man. And in a world where there aren't a lot of leaders, I mean, when you look at players, and we've looked at Arsenal over the years, Man United in recent seasons, they haven't had that leader. We've had that leader, and we benefited winning the Champions League and the Premier League. I don't think that can be understated. But how important is that now? And can someone step up and do the same thing? Maybe they can, but we haven't seen it yet. So it's going to be really important. I mean, losing the vice captain and the captain in the season, that's a massive loss, man. Cash H saying Hendo's a squad option is worth keeping. That's a massive question, man. Is he? I'm leaning towards having Henderson as a squad option. I'm not going to lie to you. I think losing him just to get a player in is madness, in my opinion, man. It's madness. Yeah, we read that already. We've got Alexander Delos saying Henderson buy. We've got Gary Richards saying sell Hendo. And sell Thiago as well, I assume. Yeah. Sam Max, big up to Sam Max saying if Hendo goes, he'll do it because it's best for him and his family. Yeah, I agree. And I think that's how it should be, man. At the end of the day, he's got loyalties to Liverpool. But this is his career, man. Liverpool's not going to be standing here for him. Look how the fan base are turning on him online. I just don't see it. We've got Michael Talks in the building. Big up to Michael Talks saying, do we genuinely believe he's going to leave? If I'm being honest, I'd be very, very shocked. But these reports are scary. To be fair, David Kopp's been really good in this window, you know. I know people talk about Fabrizio Romano, James Pearce. David Kopp's been very, very solid with his news. Very solid with his news. And when he's direct, I tend to kind of follow what he's going to go and say. He's been very direct with what he said. He hasn't beat around the bush a lot when it comes to news. We've got Psychedelic. Big up to Psychedelic saying, Hendo wants that jumbo stack. I mean, who wouldn't, man? Who wouldn't want that jumbo stack? Jay Kismet agreeing with Michael Talk saying, look, can't see Hendo leaving. We've got Sam Max in the building saying, big up JJ. Hendo goes, it frees up space, and we've got some Wonga for new players. Yeah, I mean, how much does he go for? Does all of that money get reinvested into the squad? And then what player can we get with that money? So, look, if Henderson goes for 30 million, 40 million, does that move the needle in any way? Does that change Liverpool's plans? Maybe so. Maybe it means, you spend 20 million on Lavia outright as opposed to paying 50 that they're asking for. Maybe so. But does Lavia offer us more than what Henderson does? Maybe, from a footballing perspective, I want to say so, yes. But Liverpool's a different kettle of fish. We thought that with Naby Keita, we thought that with Chamberlain, we thought that with loads of midfielders. Any midfielder that you've bought recently, and Henderson always ends up playing. Always ends up playing. And there's got to be a reason for that, man. Elder's saying, is he open to the move to Arabia? Like, he is. That's what it's looking like, man. Big up to Jamrock. Jamrock saying it's not happening. I mean, if maybe so, I'd be very surprised. But hey, we never know, man. Big up to Louis Las Vegas saying he looks like Rooney in that pic. Well, I look like Rooney. I've never heard that one. Or do you mean Hendo? I don't know. Chat to me, bro. We've got Anfield Road M. Big up to Anfield Road M saying, yes, JJ Chale. On break at the moment. We'll have to watch the stream back. Big up, fam. Big up to Anfield Road. And that's what we need, man. Watching it back, man. We need that replay value. So big up. Jamrock disagreeing with me saying, look, Dave O'Cop is a spoofer. Bro, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't mind Dave O'Cop if I'm being honest. Sam Max saying, remember how quickly Whiskey Nose got rid of Roy Keane for the betterment of the squad? No sympathy. That's very true. Very true. I'm not saying it's not the right decision. Did we ever see, I don't know, the likes of, who was that at the time? Or Roy Keane, Rio Ferdinand, someone else as an example, going and coming out? I'm not too sure. People. So, nah, man. Psychedelic saying there's a lot of reports about it. There are 100%. 2 seconds, people. 2 secs. Yeah, apologies, people. Apologies, people. Yeah, as we're saying, there's a lot of reports about 100%. We've got Ibrahim in the building. Big up to Ibrahim. Hope you're doing well. And they'll offer twice the wages, and that's what it is, man. That's what it is at the end of the day. Getting those wages in, crazy. Life-changing money. Jay Kismet saying, look, De Gea and Henderson, both top professionals, both treated like crap by their supporters. Thankfulness gone out of the game. 100%, 100%. I mean, look, De Gea has been poor last couple of seasons, 100%. Mad mistakes, crazy mistakes. But he's been ever present, and when they were in the dumps, he was their best player. So to go and now, do you know what I mean, talk about him as though he's this no one, for me, it's crazy. And I don't want it to happen with Henderson at all, because let's put it rightly. As a player, yeah, he's not on the level of a Gerrard. But at the end of the day, football's about winning. It's not, otherwise Tarak would just be adored by everyone. Tarak, Nani, flipping Bear, loads of players, Hulk. Like, let's not get it twisted. Football's about winning, and he's a winner. And God forbid he went and won the Euros and the World Cup with England. Then we'll be having a different conversation. We've got to be honest about it, man. Gary Rich is saying with these two going, Kone and Thuram can replace them. Yeah, I just don't see Thiago and Henderson leaving. That would be crazy to me. Michael Talk saying, then we need a homegrown player. Facts, we do, man. We do. That's very important to remember. We've got Bayesian Red saying, big up to Bayesian Red TV as well. Hope you're doing well. Ibrahim saying, they said Thiago staying for the season. With Alexander De Los saying, Thiago heading to Turkey too. Great news. We'll have to go and see, man. KLFC saying, love the DP, by the way, man. Soboslai DP. I think that picture's good, man. Saying Fabinho is the least likely out of himself, Jordan Henderson and Thiago Alcantara to leave this summer. He's viewed as untouchable. Yeah, I agree, man. Darren Robb saying, thank you for your services and good luck with your future endeavors. Yeah, you want him out, bro. Captain Sal saying, look, it's time to move the old guard on and start a new chapter. Time to be sentimental is over if we want to be successful again. Yeah. I agree. It's just, this is a massive change. We're talking about Bobby leaving. Mane left the season before. Henderson, Thiago leaving. It's a completely new team, bro. It's a completely new team. And we don't know if this new team can do it. Like, we know Alisson, Verge, the spine of the team, Fabinho and Salah have done it. The rest haven't. The rest are all new players. This is really, it's going to be an interesting preseason, interesting season in general, man, if this was to go ahead. Big up to Jamal. Jamal saying Henderson without physicality is not a good enough footballer. His entire game is about intensity. That's fair. But maybe you can use that intensity in certain games, certain aspects. And look, there's been games, I remember, it's not even about intensity. In the Champions League against AC Milan, he came on in the second half and we were all over the place. And he just went and we saw the game out with him. We saw the game out because he's got that Milner about. Milner's game was all about intensity as well. And it got to a point where Milner was still a decent option because he understood what he could offer and he understood his role. Maybe Henderson can do that when he's not a starting option. Do you know what I mean? And Jamal saying Jason Tatum with another fire stream. Listen, if I went and grew my hair out, maybe I look like Jason Tatum. Maybe I would. Colin Blackshaw saying Hendo is 33. Demand 20 million would be a good deal. Big up to Colin. I think that's cheap though, man. Can we do anything with 20 M's? Louis Las Vegas saying, look, don't people think Hendo can still provide a service as a bit part, help bed new players in, leadership on and off the pitch, and when he does play, he can be effective? That's what I think. That's what I think Henderson's role should be this season. Maybe move him on next season when Soboslai, McAllister, Jones can acclimatise to playing more games and having a bigger role and more being expected of them. Right now, up until last season, Henderson was still the first option at right centre mid. Let's just cut the crap. Let's just be honest. You had Elliott, of course, was an option there in rotation. Elliott was gone very, very, very quick. Once it started not working out, Elliott was gone, and we still reverted back to having Henderson, Fabinho, and Thiago when he was fit. And Thiago was never fit, so Henderson always had that availability, man. Big up to K-Mac. Hope you're doing well. We got big up Ram as well in the building. Big up to Ram. Hope you're doing well. You know what? Let me know. Ram and Michael Talks. Let me know if you guys want to jump in, man. If you guys want to chop this up. Let me know and you guys can come in because I actually want to know your points of view, man. Because I know some of you guys don't really rate him. I know Ram doesn't. I know Ram just wants that German or French player, man. That Frenchman playing in Germany or the Frenchman playing in France. He wants one of them. And I think it's the Frenchman playing in France that's really turning him up. So Hendo goes, Thuram arrives. The policy now is 1 in, 1 out. Yeah, I think the Thuram deal's done, you know. It won't be Thuram. You know what? Watch it be Ward-Prowse. What? Because it needs to be homegrown. The guy needs to be homegrown, man. PL saying, look, I'm indifferent, to be honest. But if he leaves, we will feel the impact from a leadership point of view. 100% we will. I think we will, man. Especially if people want to go and try to challenge for a league and stuff. I don't know, man. You've never done it without him. It's the same argument people want to use for Klopp, right? So, it'll be interesting. But hold on. We've got Ram in the building, man, supporting... Is that England? I'm surprised they're not wearing the Germany top.
No, man, I wouldn't go. I wouldn't trade away my I need to word this right. I wouldn't trade away who I've been supporting as a national team for my biggest enemy, no? You're like that made no sense, but
yeah, all right. But cool. But how you doing, man? Ran, obviously news that all of a sudden, after reports last week telling us, Henderson, Saudi Arabia's not on the cards. Towards the back end of last week and over the weekend, I should actually get up images of Henderson shredded like I haven't seen Henderson shredded before. Working in the trenches, in the cold room. Do you know what I mean? Grafting. And now there's reports that, Henderson, Liverpool are open to it, and he's open to the move also. Like we're saying, Liverpool Echo are reporting it, JJ, so something is cooking. The Liverpool Echo are linked with the club. The Liverpool Football Club actually post Liverpool Echo's articles on their website. I don't know if anyone's seen that, but that is crazy to me. That is crazy. So look, they're a massive part of what goes on at Liverpool, obviously around Liverpool. First of all, what's your thoughts on the whole news? And then, do you actually see this happening? That's obviously the big question. Do you see it happening? And if you do, what impact does this have on the team?
Firstly, my thoughts on it, I'm like, I low-key kind of like it in the sense of we're going to get 20 M's for a player that's 33 and he's on 150k a week. That's mad. And it's mad. It's a player that I wouldn't say is worth 20 million pounds in my opinion. But I don't understand why people are like, he won't offer anything, might as well just spin him off and everything. Like, people forget, I think you're talking about the Inter Milan game in the quad season where it was so chaotic. I think we just scored and we still end up conceding so many chances. He came on and the game completely shifted and we decided to get a hold of the game. I don't understand why he can't do that role. He's going to be playing, I don't know, around about 20, 25 games a season. And whenever we need someone just to shore up the midfield, him coming on will be a decent option. I don't like the fact that if we sell him, we're not going to get anyone else. There's got to be someone readily available to come in and do the work that he's got to do. That's my main worry.
But it limits our options though, because it's not Thiago leaving where you can replace him with essentially anybody, because he takes up one of the international kind of player cap spaces.
Homegrown.
So that means you either go all out for Lavia, or you look just behind Lavia and see another skipper waving his hand out from St. Mary's. That's the only other option I can go and see happening.
Bro, I've seen Southampton are quoting around about 50 M's for James Ward-Prowse. I'm like, no way.
They're doing that, but they're gonna have to reduce it. They're going to.
100%. 100%, but I don't know how willing are they to reduce it. As in, I was talking 15 to 20 M's. They talk about 50 M's max. Like that. That is something that we need. That's something that we wouldn't do. We wouldn't pay 50 M's for a player that's going to be at that level that he is. We're talking about a player that's going up in their level, going to be a big player when they're at their peak. This is a player that we are going for that is past his peak, arguably, or in his latter stage of his peak years.
No, I mean, look, I wouldn't say he's past his peak, because I think you could still get 3-4 seasons out of him, like at a high level. The type of player he is, I think you can get. I don't think he's just going to go and drop off. He's not. And of course, 50 M's, like we're saying, for a 28, 29-year-old is mad. Like, we're not going to go and do that. However, if we can't get Lavia, if Lavia decides to not come to Liverpool because there's no game time for him, and even then, that's actually mad. If Henderson leaves, we've still got 8 options in midfield. 8.
But are they of the quality, JJ?
No, the quality is fine, but forget the quality. That's not our problem right now, right? Like, as in, that's if Klopp believes they're of the quality, that's going to remain at the club. Whether we think so or not is a different, obviously, argument. However, if you're a player, there's no guarantee. Like, football's not like, oh, I'm better than him, so I'm going to go and play. We know it's not like that. We know it's not like that because otherwise, Ndombele plays at Spurs, Bissouma plays for Spurs, yet they don't play. They don't get a game, or they didn't get a game. There's more to it in football. So there's no assurances unless Lavia was to get assurances like, yeah, you're going to play 30 games this next season, guaranteed in his contract, which I don't see happening. There's no guarantee for him playing any games. And he wants to play. You just come off having your first season playing 38 games or 36 games, whatever it is he played. You can't just turn around now and and not score, not play any games. Go back to getting like Carvalho or Elliott minutes. That's not going to be sufficient.
Especially with his good development as well, man.
Yeah. So do you know what I mean? It's like with Lavia, especially with that price tag. If you're buying him, you're buying him for now. You're buying him for now.
Because for the price tag, 100%.
If that price, you've got Bajcetic, who's obviously emerging. But you've got Lavia, obviously that's fine. But he's coming in as a £50 million player. He's starting. If he's not starting, he's starting by January, the same way Fabinho did. That's a massive amount of money to go and spend on a player.
Yeah. 100%.
So it's interesting. But hold on. We've got to do something interesting. Something interesting, man, because we got a guy, man. We got a guy who's making his debut on the channel. He's making his debut, and we're gonna have to reload it for him. Reload it! Boom! We got K Mac in the building, making his debut on the Jerry James Show. Massive fan, obviously. The channel, lovely to have you on. K Mac, Chris, how you doing, man?
Pleasure, man. I'm good. How you doing, Rams? You good?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Good.
Good, man. So the question is, man, that we're chopping up. Obviously, we're seeing it there. And I assume you're in the camp. You know, you want to see the back of Henderson. You're on mute, mate. We can hear you. There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I just want to see our team improve, and I also want to see the weight that's hanging around our neck in midfield removed, and that seems to be him. I mean, last season Klopp even said it. He said, "Look, I now know that I've got players that can't perform the tasks that I want them to," and that's a massive dig at him because he can't do what he used to do. And if an offer comes in from Saudi Arabia, then we have to really look at it. And the thing about it as well is Steven Gerrard is just a legend. Like, he's realised, you know what, I need to get rid of that player that's dragging Liverpool down right now and ruining our season. So I'll buy him.
But do you think Klopp's willing to do that and sacrifice his vice captain as well as his captain, knowing how Klopp is in terms of it being more than just your ability, the intangibles? We always speak about getting players that can, provide you that leadership, that have got the experience, that have got the hunger, the drive, the ability to go and every day wake up and be like, look, I want to be better. I want this club to progress. Henderson's got that in him. I think, and with me, there was a lot of questions surrounding Trent. Does he have that hunger in him to go and want to play and work for Liverpool? We're seeing it in pre-season now. We didn't see it a lot last season. Same questions we had, surrounding Virgil. We had questions surrounding loads of players. Henderson's kind of fight for the cause or his backing of the cause has never been in question for me. And I think the question I've got is, do you see Klopp saying, yeah, Milner, you can go, Hendo, you can go, and I'm going to trust Trent and Robbo and Fabinho to do what you did on and off the pitch?
That's interesting, though, because I'd say one of them he wasn't expecting to leave, and that was Milner. So I think the Milner was going to stay, and the contract that he offered, they obviously vetoed it and said, look, he's not staying. I think this could be beyond Klopp. Like, you know, he wanted to give Milner a new contract. It was the board that said no. This could be another scenario where the board are like, look, you've just signed 2 midfielders. Like, one of them is a captain for his country. The other one, McAllister, is a potential captain. The guy you got before that was the captain for his club in Gapco. You're signing captains, you know, and you're still keeping these guys around who aren't performing as well as you need them to be in a midfield that you want to be like a swashbuckling, total domination, winning all the battles. Henderson doesn't win any battles. He doesn't win any duels. You know, his stats have just dropped off a cliff. You can blame Fabinho as well for a part of that, but I would say the reason why Fabinho has probably been so bad last year is probably because he's been covering for Henderson for the last 2 years, and he can't do it. And I would say this year coming, he starts to get phased out, so he's going to get his minutes reduced. Henderson was going to be a big problem because he's got such an ego, and let's make no bones about it. Henderson's got an ego. It's all about Henderson. It always has been. He's going to be a big problem if he's at the club because he's going to have to play.
But you see,
he'll kick up a stink.
Yeah, but I disagree with that because I don't think you can play the way Henderson has played in terms of doing all of the running for everyone else and still make it about yourself. I think you see, I don't think you can. There's players I think that have that in them. I just think Henderson hasn't got that in him. I think Henderson, unfortunately, is the scapegoat. So when things were going well, it was like, Henderson's underrated. And I think all of us...
Trent was the scapegoat as well, by the way. It kind of goes between those two. If it's not Trent, it's Henderson.
Yeah, I hear it. But with Henderson especially, when things were going poorly, it was always Henderson. It was always Henderson when things are going bad. When things are going great, we're then overrating him and we're saying, oh, he's this, he's that. And we're fighting other fans trying to justify why Henderson's better than this player and that person. But I just think Liverpool getting rid of all these intangibles, knowing how Klopp doesn't just put in players. He like we saw it with Virgil and Alisson. Yes, we've never seen 3, 4, 5 players come in and they're like, yeah, you're starting now. We haven't seen, if Lavia comes to 50 million, this isn't a squad rotation player. This is a starting player. So I just don't see a world where Klopp goes, yeah, Henderson, you're gone out of the team completely. So obviously you're not in the team. Milner, you're gone. Thiago, you're gone as well, potentially. And we're going to rely on Szoboszlai, McAllister, Lavia, and Fabinho. And we're just going to go and make it work without there being any history of them actually working together. We don't know if Szoboszlai and McAllister can actually play together. Imagine they can't. Imagine it's one or the other. We've seen it in this team where, you know what? Henderson and Milner can't really play together, We need to go and play someone else. Gini Wijnaldum needs to play with them because otherwise it doesn't work. Or we can't go and play Naby Keita and Oxlade-Chamberlain when they were the equivalent of McAllister and Szoboszlai in our team at the time. We can't play them together because it doesn't work. What if Szoboszlai and McAllister doesn't work?
Well, we still got the rest of the other players there. We've still got Curtis Jones. We've still got Stefan Bacchetti.
And do we trust them?
We've still got Trent. We haven't even talked about Trent could go into midfield. Like, we haven't even talked about that.
Yeah.
But where do all these positions go?
The problem is, we talk about, the argument is for Klopp, and I want to put out there.
And Thiago, by the way. Thiago's going to be fit after his operation. Thiago's going to be fit after his operation. If he stays, that's another player.
Fit. He's never been fit.
I know. But he keeps on getting injured because we wouldn't let him get the operation. This operation is to stop the abductor injuries.
At Bayern, he was injured. At Barca, he's been injured. He's been injured in his youth career. He's probably injured as well. You just that's the type of player he is.
I don't disagree with that.
At 30, at 30 you're getting surgery. I think it is done. But look, if we're relying
what
on...
would you rather do then? What would you rather do then? Would you rather sell Thiago or Henderson?
I'd rather sell Thiago because we haven't won with him. Yeah, because Thiago doesn't move. For Thiago to be effective, he has to become the system. So you have to play to his tempo. He's got to get the ball all the time, and we've seen it. But that hasn't been effective. It hasn't worked. Because what happens is that you pin all your hopes, for me, on a player that's really, really talented, is great. When it's working, it's amazing. But it doesn't happen every single game. He's not consistent enough because he's not available to be on the pitch. And if he's not, then he's running around and he's doing everything else. And he's not doing what he was great at. He's now coming in and the likes of Jamie Phillips are trying to tell me he's our best defensive player in our team because he's winning the most tackles and he's going away from that game.
So where does Henderson play then? But
having Henderson
in this new team with
having Henderson in this team, especially when you're bedding in the likes of Szoboszlai and bedding in the likes of McAllister, I think is important because we haven't got that. Thiago doesn't know what it's like to go in and win with Liverpool or be at Liverpool when Liverpool's trying to transition. He's never been the type of player to come in and be part of a rebuild ever. He's always gone into teams that have just had world-class players everywhere. Right now in our team, Henderson, who else? Henderson,
Robbo
maybe. No, but even then, Robbo's coming into a team when the team's growing. Henderson's been in the doldrums, like when we had Charlie Adam, and he's gone through the experience where he's more of a value for me than Thiago is.
Because you could argue Mo Salah because he played for Fiorentina.
Yeah, maybe so, but Thiago doesn't win us games, and I don't think he moves the needle enough as I would have hoped, in my opinion. And I think if we get rid of Milner, if we get rid of Henderson, as in, I'm not saying they start. I wouldn't want them to start at all. I'm not saying Henderson starts in our team right now. But if we just get rid of them out of the club, if Szoboszlai and McAllister aren't working, who do we turn to? By Cetic and Elliott? That's a scarier proposition for me.
Can I play devil's advocate then?
100%. 100%.
Okay. So all right. So we look at it from a perspective of the way we're looking to play. Okay. So if Klopp wants to carry on with the formation that he played last year, then he's playing Henderson in a advanced midfield role where he gets probably 30, 40 touches in the opposition box. That's where Szoboszlai is going to play.
I agree.
How is that not going to cook? Because Henderson did nothing in that position, absolutely zero.
Well, that's the thing we don't know if it'll cook.
Okay, so the difference between Szoboszlai and Henderson, Szoboszlai is a more attacking player who can create and score. He's also faster, fitter, younger, gets less injuries. You know, I'm ticking all the boxes of a player that fits perfectly into that position. So then if you're taking the other player out of that position, which is Curtis Jones, and putting a McAllister in there, then you've got your defensive midfield position, which is already there, which is going to be Fabinho. Where does Henderson play? Because Curtis Jones can play left-sided or right-sided. I haven't got an issue Curtis playing where Szoboszlai plays. Have you got an issue of him playing there? I haven't. And then you've got who would play instead of Fabinho? Well, you've got Thiago, you've got Trent, if you want to play.
I wouldn't want Thiago playing in that Fabinho.
No, but I'm just saying. Okay. Just saying if he's still there. And then you've got Stefan Petetius. You've also got Tyler Morton as well, who we haven't even talked about, who's coming back. Okay, so you've got a lot of players there. And you've got Elliott, who kind of just wherever he plays him. Is there room for a player that is going to kick up a stink about not playing?
I don't
Thiago
think
never kicks up a stink, and Milner's never kicked up a stink. Hendo will.
But where's the evidence of that though?
His contract.
He was playing second fiddle for Fabinho for the most of 2018-19.
He was injured.
Then when he got his opportunity,
Hendo.
Yeah, Hendo.
What? And he was just on the bench all the time. Hendo plays 40 games a season.
No, that season
he didn't play.
Klopp dropped him until he went and made his opportunity. Because remember, Klopp said he only saw him as a 6. He didn't want to play him as an 8. And he's the one who actually went and we brought in that.
Sorry, I forgot.
Was it 16, 17, 18? Was it?
No, 18, 19.
18, 19.
Won
There we
CL.
go. You know, we're on the Champions League, and then we actually brought in Chamberlain as well. And obviously Chamberlain was playing, but certain games he started to keep him out the side, even though he got injured. Naby Keita came in, kept him out. For me, it's look. I'm not saying in the current system Henderson's the best option. I'm not. But I go back to the Inter Milan game, and we spoke about it with Ram earlier. When we needed to see out the game, he can definitely do that. He can definitely come on and see out a game, and he's an asset. And I think he's more of an asset to do that than, you know, it's 1-0 against City. We need to see out the game. We don't need to score another goal. Or in the Champions League, bring on Bajcetic or bring on, like, Bajcetic is still learning. He's going to go and try to do a Cruyff turn on the edge of the box and lose the ball. We saw it in the Champions League, or was it in the league?
Okay, that player can be Kepprin Thuram or Curtis Jones now.
Yeah, but
but does they have the experience?
But Kepprin Thuram's not going to come in without assurances that he's going to play games. They're not going to leave games and be like, yeah, I'm going to take 15 games a season.
I mean, you're talking about experience. The guy makes so many mistakes. The guy tries to close down the goalkeeper in the 94th minute when we need to not concede a goal. Like, he does daft things. Like, last season, he managed to get into an argument with our goalkeeper and our central defender. Like he's become
but that happens. But K-Mac, but I'm not gonna lie. Like, me playing football, that happens. No, but that happens all the time. I'm telling you, if we played football together, you probably hate me. You hate me as a player. He's running
around shouting at players, and he's the one who's not doing the job. But his ego is so much. It's so much right now.
But we're saying that. But we don't know if those are instructions from the gaffer himself, because the gaffer keeps playing him. If
he has to play him, though. He has to play him.
No, but he doesn't, because you could have played Elliot then. You just used Elliot as an example. We've just used other players.
Well, we use Elliot as a scapegoat as well.
No, we do. But I'm saying Klopp could have easily said, "Oh, I'm going to play Elliot there." He could have easily said, "You know, Thiago was fit back in the last season. He could have played in there. So was Naby Keita. He could have went and played in there, even though he was going to go and leave. He could have even played Milner there. He didn't. He chose to play Henderson every single time, and he's the reason why Henderson gets these games. That's my worry. So I agree. There's many things I don't like. I don't like that first time hook cross he does to the back post every single time. But the fact that he's doing it every single time.
Imagine Szoboszlai doing that cross, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. But exactly. But I don't. But what I'm saying is, if that's an instruction from Klopp, if he's been instructed to go and do that, yeah, of course I can say, look, I don't like what he's going and doing. But there comes a point where I've got to be like, well, those are the instructions he's giving him. And if those are the instructions,
look, you've both got really valid arguments. Look, I'm here on the side of the future, and the future is moving on those players, because they've not done enough for us. They've let us down many times. Yeah, they've been fantastic players in the past. Of course they have, but we all know that we needed to move Milner on, because he was going to end up being like 40, 41, still playing for us, still coming on for 20 minutes to go when we need to get a goal. Like, Milner's really going to do that. And Henderson is going to be blocking the path for someone else. Like, I see him blocking the path for another player.
But then,
and I don't want his getting blocked.
Can I argue this? If a Henderson is blocking a path for another player, isn't the onus on the player to actually be better than Henderson? If he's not going to be better than Henderson, then what's the point of him even starting?
But it's not about Henderson's ability. It's about the man. It's about the fact that you're moving on someone who's an icon, who's took over from Gerrard. He's won everything. He's had a testimonial already, by the way. Like, the guy's been at the club too long. Like, he needs to be moved on. Like, he really should have been moved on probably a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, if I'm honest. Like, this is what we need to get away from at Liverpool now. If we're ever going to be anything more than runners up to Man City, we need to start understanding that things need to change and progression needs to happen quicker than it has. Players need to be sold, money needs to be made, old players need to be moved on before they get too old, otherwise they're just going to run the contracts down like Matip and Thiago probably are. You know, Henderson's no different. His contract runs out in 2 years. He shouldn't have got a contract, the extension he shouldn't have got. Like,
and who pushed for that contract?
Why we lost our director of football.
But who
It was
pushed for that
Klopp.
contract? Exactly.
Klopp. Well,
No,
no.
but this,
Well, actually, the main thing what happened is Henderson seen everybody else getting a new contract, and he wasn't getting offered one because our director of football wanted to sell him, and he ran to the press. You can read that up yourself. He ran to the press and leaked it to the press that he wasn't getting offered a new contract, and then
Yeah,
Klopp
but-
found out about it, and then had a big argument, and then Michael Edwards left.
I know, but if Klopp thought, yeah, I still want you gone, it doesn't matter what you leak to the press at that point. Yeah, you're going to leave the betterment of the club. And I agree with what a lot with what you're saying. My issue is that we've criticised the club for not moving players on, being too sentimental, like I mean, keeping that milk in the fridge after it's gone and expired. What we're seemingly doing now is how we're moving too fast, in my opinion, because if the aim is that Liverpool are trying to get back to winning the league or challenging for the league or winning the Europa League, right? And this is next season. I don't see that happening by just getting rid of a load of players, because they all need to go and bed in. We've seen what happened at Chelsea when you go and try to do that at an extreme level. It's just not going to go and work. It's just not going to work. So I agree. I would do the same thing if you said, you know what, scrap next season off as well. We're trying to build these players up so in 2 seasons or 3 seasons time they can rise up. And I mean, you got Szoboszlai at 26 now. You got McAllister at 28 or whatever, and they're now ready to go and perform and kind of dominate in their positions. That's fair, and I understand. You get a load of young players in, and you do what Arsenal did essentially, where they got rid of a lot of the old guard and said, yeah, we're gonna go with the young players. And I agree.
They were really young now. Like, these aren't young. Like, these aren't young.
No,
okay,
they're not.
Okay, I just want to mention something that you said there, which is really interesting, about moving too many players on at once. Now, in any team, the best thing to do is to replace your both centre-backs at the same time and both your midfielders at the same time, because they then integrate with themselves quicker than somebody else that then you have to move on again and then get another one in. So you're working both your centre-backs at the same time and you're working both your midfielders at the same time. I think working the 2 midfielders at the same time is going to be really easy. That's like a plug and play, because they're both getting to know each other at exactly the same time, than having to accommodate another player for them having to move for another one to come in. And that's why a lot of people replace both centre-backs at the same time. Ferguson did it. Ferguson did it.
No, but I don't remember him ever doing that just in one season. This is over a period of time. I agree with doing that, but it was, you had. I mean, let's use Chelsea as an example. They had John Terry and Carvalho at the time. Carvalho was there. Then they went and brought in Cahill, was it? From Bolton. And Cahill was on the bench for a bit.
It's a bit too further forward. I think it was more.
It was
Alex. They brought Alex after that.
That's it. They brought Alex, and Alex was the blood with Alex and Carvalho. And when Carvalho left, they brought in Cahill, and then Alex was the one that rotated with Cahill. But you had some sort of spine. So I can see us doing that with the centre backs in midfield, to just go and replace 2 Liverpool have never done that. City haven't done that. Barca haven't done that.
Do you know who's done it?
Madrid haven't done that.
Do you know who's done it?
Sorry?
Tottenham. Tottenham did it, and it didn't work.
It didn't work, did it? When they got
remember, they sold Gareth Bale, and they bought in Soldado and Paulinho as the cam and the striker, and they bought Eriksen the season after that, and then they bought in Capure and someone else. I can't remember. They also bought in Jan Vertonghen to partner up with Yunus Kabul, and it didn't work. Well, Yunus Kabul didn't work, but Jan Vertonghen did. It's just going to be a lot of trial and errors, and I feel as though it's better to do it one at a time. You do it slowly, but you don't go in all at once, because once you go in all at once, like we did it ourselves. Like we sold Suarez, we bought in Markovic, Lallana, Lambert, Balotelli. Like we bought in so many players,
I mean,
and
that was never going to work with those players, though.
But people forget. People
Like, they were
forget.
dreadful when we
No,
Mark,
at the time,
Markovic
Milano
was
was
a.
it weren't going to work.
No,
Everyone
but
was like,
Mark,
"Oh, yeah."
I remember because I remember Benfica fans was so surprised that Markovic turned out the player that he was. Even Benfica fans were like, "That's not the Markovic that we saw. Markovic was a proper talent." And then he ended up flopping as bad as he. I only remember him for getting that red card against Basel. That's it. It just, I feel as though it's just too much trial and error, just putting too much pressure on the kids.
But this season is supposed to be the big clear out. Like, it's been talked about. All the media have talked about the fact that Liverpool are gonna get rid of loads of players.
I would argue
We've only done two. We've only signed two players.
But we gotten out 4 of our big players. We've got out Firmino, Milner, Keita, and Ox. Those are 4 big players.
But 2 of them never played. Like,
but they're still.
Oxlade-Chamberlain and Keita hadn't played in like 2 years.
But they were still big players for us. They were still big players.
You're not really missing them.
That's fair, but we've replaced them with players that we assume are going to be able to go and play. So then what I'm talking about is we've still got the players, and even if they're going to play, we've still got the players there that played every single game.
And plus, I feel as though Klopp saw Curtis Jones as one of the replacements for one of them. I think he saw that, and that's why he was like, he was happy to give Curtis Jones more game time.
Like, I mean, for me, I don't want anyone blocking a player's path, and if Curtis Jones's path's going to get blocked by Henderson or Thiago, then 2 of them could leave. I'm sorry, like, we can't be letting a player who can be anything he wants. He is so good. Like, and if you didn't see that at the under-21s, then I don't know what anyone was watching. But he is absolutely fantastic. Like, he just stood. He looked like men with boys in some of the games.
Yeah,
like, he just looked like a man just playing, like full international, playing with a load of kids.
I agree. I agree.
He stands out like a sore thumb.
The one thing that Jamrock brings up before we kind of get into the comments and then head out, Jamrock saying here, look, Hendo doesn't necessarily need to be moved on as much as the younger players really should be loaned out. And my worry is what's more beneficial for the team as a whole? Henderson playing 20 minutes a game, right? Seeing out games and just doing that kind of Milner role, or giving those minutes to Bajcetic when you could be playing first team football somewhere else and developing quicker. The reason why Lavia's a £50 million player is because he played 36 games last season in the Prem. If that's Bajcetic playing in the Prem, does he not become a better player? And can we rely on these players to go and do that kind of menial job when it's coming in just seeing out a game? It's difficult to do that as a youngster because you're trying to make an impact. You're trying to stake your claim to go and start every single game. I don't see Henderson wanting to go and do that. And that's why I'm saying, where is the value in what Henderson brings? Is the value more? Is the value of him playing 20 minutes more than the value of Bajcetic or Elliott playing 20 minutes when they could just play 90 minutes somewhere else? Because they're not going to really impact the game like that. I mean, Bajcetic isn't coming on and we're not bringing him on like, yeah, we need to win the game, so let's bring Bajcetic in. He's the type of player that needs to start a game, like try to control a game, dictate a game. Do you know what I mean? He needs to learn that role, but you're not going to learn that role playing 20 minutes. This is the same argument we've had with Jones K-Mac, that Jones never got game time. He was available on the bench, but you're not getting game time. If these players aren't getting game time, then what's the point of them being there? Whereas you could have a player that's had all the game time in the world, has won everything, and has actually got more experience than these players. And I personally don't think we'll kick up a fuss if he knows, look, I've got to come in and look, I'm gonna fight my case, and if I perform better than these players, I'll start. But if I'm not better than these players, if they're outperforming me, then they're going to play. And I think Henderson will be quite accepting of that. And I don't think he'd be working as hard. I don't think he'd be working as hard as we're seeing if he wasn't.
You're pretty optimistic there, Jay.
Yeah, I just don't see where this ego of Henderson's come from. I don't think he's ever shown that.
The guy's won everything, mate. He's an England international. He's not going to be on the bench. He's just not going to be on the bench. Like if Henderson stays, unfortunately, it's going to be Fabinho, Henderson, and McAllister against Chelsea away. It just is. And Jones is going to be on the bench with Szoboszlai.
It depends. If Szoboszlai just ends up having an incredible pre-season, then it's a completely different story. But then I'd ask you this though. Milner, you could say the exact same thing for James Milner because he's won multiple Premier League titles, won the Champions League, and he's won multiple domestic competitions. Couldn't you say the same thing for James Milner?
James Milner was a squad player, and he was happy with it, and he came on, and I mean,
but he was a starter.
I've got nothing really bad to say about James Milner. He was always a 7 out of 10. He came on. He ended up basically doing what Gomez's job was, which was supposed to be back up right back.
But remember,
but he wouldn't do it.
Remember, Milner wasn't happy with the role. Milner wanted to come in as an 8 and signed as a midfielder. And the reason why he moved to Liverpool was because he wanted to play in midfield and he was being used as a rotationary piece at City. Ended up doing that at Liverpool.
Exactly the same.
But he used to always come out and say, I don't want to play at left back. Remember, there was actually a game where he went and came off and had an argument with Klopp on the touchline, and then the substitution went and came and scored. If I use that example,
I think there was a story. There was a story about how Milner had a meeting with Klopp saying, "You bought Robertson, but why am I still playing left back?"
Yeah, that was the meeting. You might have to thank Milner for Robinson coming on and getting his chance.
Maybe so.
Okay, so the thing about the young players, I totally agree with that. All right, I'm 100% behind that. Stefan Bajcetic shouldn't have been played last season as much as he was, and he shouldn't have got his injury because he was overplayed. We can say that about a lot of Liverpool players. Like, I have no idea why we're bringing on a 16-year-old Ben Doak, like when we've got an Elliott that can play there. Like, I have no idea, but that's what we've been doing. Our loan system is atrocious. It's absolutely atrocious. Like, if we've got a good academy, why the hell is our academy playing in Scotland? Like, all our academy players end up playing in Scotland or the second division.
Yeah.
Our academy is great, though. Our academy is
ridiculous.
Me and JJ have had this conversation so many times.
Like, Carvalho going to Leipzig is a good loan.
But he's not from our academy.
No, he's not.
But people saying our best prospect at this moment is Ben Doak. He's not even from our academy. He's from Celtic.
We just signed Ramsey. Like, Ramsey won young player of the year in the Scottish Premier League. He's going to Preston on loan. Like, why isn't he going to Sheffield United in the Premier League? Like,
the only player that I know, and it's come out recently. The only player that I know that was that's going to a decent club is Luke Chambers. He's going to Leverkusen apparently.
Yeah, he'll probably get sold though. He'll probably get sold. There's going to be a buy option on him.
Yeah, he's probably going to be a buyback.
There is a buy option, yeah.
But I have no idea why Luke Chambers isn't going to be our backup.
He won't get games.
Because if they're good, this is the problem: is that if you're good, right, you have to be. If you're really good, no one wants to be a young player being backup. Like, the whole idea of being a footballer, you want to play games.
And Chambers knows he's getting game time.
You just hit the nail on the head, Jerry. That's why Henderson.
No, but there's no guarantee. No, but sorry, I'm not looking at Luke Chambers as the next Cafu or Robbo. Do you know what I mean? Or Maldini at left back. We're not talking about a talent like that. We're talking about a player that could be decent, but could end up playing for Leicester, could be at Dundee next season. Who knows? And that's what I'm trying to say. If these players are good, if you're trying to tell me that if you believe Morton can be the next Rodri in midfield, then he's that good.
Or even Carrick.
No, but I'm talking about for Liverpool. If you're saying he's going to be that good and his ceiling's that great, then yeah, get rid of Henderson. But I'm sorry, I'm not looking at Elliott and I'm not looking at Bajcetic so far. And I'm saying for 100%, these guys are going to be the next ones up, because if we thought that, and if the club thought that, they wouldn't even be going in for Lavia. Lavia wouldn't even be
about Stefan being the new Busquets. Like, that's what we're getting spread around.
Yeah, but if that's the case, and if the club thought that, we wouldn't be going and getting a Lavia because he's his age, mate.
So would you spend 50 million on Lavia when you've got Stefan Bajcetic?
I personally think Lavia's
all that's saying to me,
I would say,
is Klopp doesn't rate Bajcetic.
But that's my point. He doesn't rate Bajcetic as much as Lavia. That's my point. So
what's Lavia done? What's Lavia done that's better than Bajcetic? Like, Bajcetic basically got us back on an even keel.
Well, no. But in our midfield, you're also talking about a player that played with worse players, yet his stats were much better and played way more games and showed his ability.
And we didn't have worse players.
And as a youngster, if you were to look at youth level, we signed him from Celta Vigo for 250,000 or whatever. this person was signed by Man City because they saw him as a thing. He wanted to play games and wanted to
Pep.
leave Man City.
It was Pep, actually. Pep watched him.
Pep saw him. So we're talking about players that, are ultimately on different. And when I see them play, they are on different levels. Now, you can have your opinion that Bajcetic is better. And to be fair, who am I to say? Because one's played a season, one's played a third of the season. So
I rate Lavia, by the way. I rate Lavia. I'm not saying I don't.
No, of course not. It's not a massive.
Like a guy who turns around and says to Pep,
"Yeah,
I'm going to leave because I want to play football."
Yeah, exactly. But for me, I think Lavia is just a better player. But if the club see it as, you know what, we're entertaining a £50 million price, even if we haven't bid for it, the fact that we're discussing the price, we're negotiating, we're in talks, Klopp's now interested. Yeah, like that means they don't.
Start?
He will. But if we pay £50 million for Lavia, I guarantee you by January the midfield will be Szoboszlai, Lavia, and someone else. You don't pay £50 million for a midfielder. Yeah, no, there might be McAllister, but it might be Fabinho. It depends on what the team needs. But you don't spend £50+ million on a player for him to just be on the bench. Liverpool can't afford to do that.
JJ, on the whole you thing, and I think this is where I'm going to say something about whether players are good enough or not. Just cast your minds back to 2017 when Trent Alexander-Arnold was coming through. Do you hear the amount of fanfare that there was about this guy? Because even Steven Gerrard in his autobiography talked about him. Like that was like one of the last chapters of his book was talking about how good Trent Alexander-Arnold's going to be and how he's going to be the next guy that's going to take Liverpool forward. Everyone was saying that about him. And look what's happening now about Trent. Curtis Jones had a little bit of fanfare and people were talking about him, but not as much as Trent. There wasn't as much for Bajcetic. And I think Klopp may say the same thing again about saying Lavia might be the better option. And look, even if it comes down to this, go after 2026 when Klopp leaves. The next manager comes in and we have Lavia and Bajcetic as options. That's going to be very, very good for us.
It will be. The thing is, it's not feasible. Like that will never happen. One of them's going to have to go on loan. Like you can't have in a squad of where there's only 3 positions in the midfield at any given point. Doesn't matter how many. You could have 20 midfielders. You could have 5 midfielders. Only 3 can play at any given point. Bajcetic needs to play games, otherwise he's not going to get better. But you've signed someone in his age bracket for 50 million. If you're like hypothetically going to sign Lavia, Bajcetic, we talk about. Do you know what I mean? Cutting off the pathway for these players, Kiris. That's exactly what we do if we sign Lavia. Exactly. And I'm me personally, I don't care about that. Like that's the onus on the player. You either go, you sink or you swim. If you're good enough, you're good enough. If you're not, you're not. Tough. But that means Bajcetic ain't going to get game time. Us signing, do you know what I mean? As a great example, we speak about Jones. Us signing, of course, we lost players, but us signing McAllister and a Szoboszlai, the profile of player they are, means that on paper there is less game time now for Curtis Jones.
And it's on Jones to try and get past them.
100%. But ultimately, there's less game time for Jones. If we were to go and sign Colwill, depending on how much we sign him for him, 50 million signing for him.
There's no game time for Robbo.
Less game time for Gomez. It's just the way it is. That's just how football is. So I can't look at it and say,
that's a good problem to have, by the way.
No, it is. But I don't see Henderson. I don't see Henderson being there and his role being, look, you're going to be a squad rotation piece, or you're going to go and do the Milner role if that's what's been advocated to him. I don't see that blocking the pathway for a Bajcetic more than what Lavia would do if we came in, or Kefren Turan or Kone. If those players came in, that's even worse. Bajcetic now hasn't even got a chance.
Something on that?
Can I say
something on that? How do we not know that conversation's been had, and that's the reason why all this stuff's coming out of our Hendo now, because he wants out.
Maybe so.
He might have been told by Klopp, look, your role's going to be diminished. You're going to only play 50%. You're going to be a squad player, and he might have gone, I can't let that happen. Like, I need to keep my international career going. Like, it's more important than anything else.
But maybe so. Maybe even if it's not international career, he just still thinks he wants to go and play games. 100%.
He wants to play in the Euros. Like he wants to play under Southgate for another year.
I mean, if
and
he played
probably
in
will.
Saudi, but from Saudi, I don't know. If he played in the Saudi league, I don't know.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. If he goes to the Saudi league, I just don't see that happening. I think he's got to still play at the highest level. Otherwise, they're going to go in and Maddison will place him or Lavia will place him.
Do you think so? I don't think so with Southgate. Look at Maguire. Maguire never played for Man United, and he got picked all the time.
I know, but Maguire's
will be playing.
But Maguire's been a
standout for England.
Maguire's been a standout for Southgate. Henderson's never started for Southgate. Henderson's just been part of the squad. So I just don't
Rice
see.
Is taken over him.
Yeah, I just see if Henderson goes to Saudi Arabia, I think that's done. I think his Euro thing is done. But again, that suggests to me that's fine then. If someone's presented you an option and you said, actually, no, I want to play games, that's no issues at all. If he's willing to go to Saudi Arabia, that's fine then. But that's fair then. He's not saying, oh no, I'm not leaving anywhere. I'm not entertaining any offers. And yeah, I need to play every game. I don't see Henderson kicking up a fuss like that. That was just my point. But I'm going to get into some of the comments before we head up because there's a few here. Big up to Albert for the super chat. Saying here, JJ, you and I saw Curtis Jones in the flesh at West Ham. He was awesome. He was very, very good player, man. Very, very good player. I'm always been a fan. K-Mac will probably remember. Reds for Life saying, why are other clubs' captains actually quality, but ours are dusted? City just let go of Gundogan, their captain. So what? Next season they flop because they sold their captain. And he was actually really good. Yeah, that's one, but they didn't get rid of Fernandinho. They haven't got rid of like Gundogan and Ruben Diaz in the same season, as an example. I know Ruben Diaz is a key part of their team, but from a leadership perspective.
Yeah, but the difference with us. Yeah, but the difference with us is our captain and vice captain. They never, they weren't actually on the pitch all the time. It was always Virgil, who's really probably going to be our captain this year.
Yeah, that's recent. That's true. We've got Jamrock here saying, I would rather we send Harvey and buy Chetic on loan, whittle down to Hendo, Fab, Dominic, McAllister, Jones, Thiago, and another senior midfielder. I would prefer that personally myself. Or play Harvey on the right.
As
a winger, yeah. But if they look at him as a midfielder, then he's got to go on loan and play in midfield. Yeah.
Go Germany, go build some muscle, bro.
Yeah, man. Kalonji saying, who you want Klopp is working with what you got, who you want.
Who do you want?
Yeah. Sorry, it confused me a bit, Kalonji.
Tongue twister.
How cute. Now, no, I don't know. No, yeah, can't play together. Let's see it happen.
I think it's how cute.
No more than us.
I think it's how cute. How do you know that they can't play together? Let it happen. You're a fan like me. They know more than us.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it won't do, but it might not do, and maybe they're just options to go and have. If we need to be a bit more direct, Soboslai plays. If we need to control the game a bit more, McAllister plays. But they might not always play together. That's just my. I mean,
I don't understand why we're so pressed about rotation. Like our best team, 2018-19, played 3 games together the entire season. 3.
Yeah.
And one of them included the final. So
Exactly. Paul Smith saying, stop making excuses for Fabinho as he's been shite for a year to 18 months. Hence his performance against Real Madrid in the Champions League. Yeah.
If we get Lavia, then he's going next summer.
I agree.
If we get Thuram, he's going.
Yeah, either one of those players. Albert, big up to Uncle Albert saying, captains of Holland, Hungary, Egypt, and Scotland, but Hendo should still get in the middle of the goal-bound free kicks and poke Curtis in the eye, putting him out for 8 months. Voice of Reason said, would the homegrown replacement be in a different position, Colwill, and get an overseas midfield replacement? If not, is Calvin Phillips an option?
Pep won't give us any of his players.
Have you done a show on Colwell? Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I spoke about
it. JJ's been on him.
I've been on him from the beginning. I knew about it from the beginning, man.
Serious.
Psychedelic scientist saying Lavia wants Liverpool apparently, and we're the most likely to sign him. We ain't signed him yet, though, man. We ain't signed him yet. John saying, I don't get the attachment to Hendo. He's done bits for this club, etc. But this is an on-field basis. He don't offer quality. Just bollock him when we have plenty of men who can do that.
Spot
on. Ibrahim saying, listen, guys, I 100% agree with K-Mac. What he means is Henderson is useless from a footballing side. Yes, we want players with leadership, but technically is what we need. That's fair. Albert saying, JJ, whenever Klopp has a viable option, he doesn't use Hendo. Always ends up using him, though, for whatever reason. We know, big up to Wino saying, this is why we never have had another centre-back partnership outside of someone like VVD. Klopp never built other partnerships, hence why Joe looks bad with Matip.
Oh, no, it just doesn't work. It's just some players just don't fit together.
Yeah.
Because we tried Joe and Konate and it didn't work.
It didn't work, yeah. Whereas Konate and Matip has worked somewhat at certain games. Even though it's a bit rocky, even though it's not ideal, it's worked better than Gomez and
even the whole when you play Gomez in the centre and Trent as a right back, they have terrible games together.
Yeah.
Like, they don't work together either.
Yeah, exactly. Gomez actually worked better when he had Klein, and then Trent when we played a different role, when Trent was just more of like an orthodox right back. Yeah. Jamrot saying Hendo doesn't necessarily need to be moved on as much as the younger players really should be loaned out. We said that before. We are saying there's two options. You either do it all at once and take the hit like what happened at Chelsea, or do it bit by bit and win the league in the next 3 years. That I agree with that.
Transition, that's the one.
Yeah. Big up to Colin saying, would Hendo, Fab and Thiago still be in the sitting team if they were there? No. That's fair. Big up to Liverpool 12 man saying, the sea change on Curtis Jones signifies the importance of patience and faith. Too often players aren't given the chance, and even when they are held, they are held to an agenda. I agree with that, man. That's what football's been for years. So many players fall under.
We've been Jones fans for a while, though. 12 man.
Exactly.
Since he was 18.
JJ and I never gave up on him. Just saying.
Exactly.
A 5-year fan.
Exactly. Last word here we got from Jay Kismet saying, K-Mac, you into your music? Was at Berlin's Techno Street Parade at the weekend. Big party.
Mate, I was based in Germany for 9 years in the army. I went there pretty much every year.
There you go. Learn something new every day. But look, big up to everyone in the building that's tuned in, people. It's been amazing to obviously have everyone on. And obviously thank Ram and K-Mac for obviously coming on. Guys, Ram, let us know what's coming up, man, on the Ram stand. I know there was an emergence. There was some bubbling over on that channel of yours, man. A video or two being released.
Yeah, man. Like, of course, many people have been on my case telling me to repost stuff on the Ram stand, and I've started to do it, man. I made a recent upload like about 20 minutes ago of Colwell and Lavia and potential signings for Liverpool. I forgot to put the thumbnail up, so I still need to work on the YouTube thing. But yeah, just subscribe over to the Ram stand, and you can see all the content going up. We're going to get some other guests on as well. Things are looking up for the Ram stand again, man. We're back, baby, and we're looking to keep it going as well, man.
There we go, man. And K-Mac, man, listen, taken to this thing like a duck to water. Amazing to have you on. I've been actually planning.
Hey, you got me into it. You got me into it. I started watching your show and thought, I'll have a little go with that.
Yeah, big up. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. But amazing to have you on. Let us know, man. What's coming?
I do shows mostly Sunday and Thursday. I haven't done anything for a while. I took a few days off because it was becoming a bit consuming because of all the transfer news. Yeah. But I'm on GTV show at 8:30 tonight, by the way.
Oh, amazing. There we go. So guys, make sure we're heading over to GTV because we're actually going to be discussing Curtis Jones as well. So I'm going to definitely be in the comments. I might pop up, show my face in there or so. But big up to everyone in the building. Thank you so much, guys. Make sure we're liking it upon entry as well and upon exit, because I know some of you guys are probably going to be tuning in now. A lot of you guys are going to be catching it on a replay, so it's going to be amazing to have, obviously, just get the likes up. Please make sure and let us know in the comments after the video's done. What are we saying? Henderson, staying or going? How are we feeling about it, man? But yeah, until next time, people, it's been the Jerry James Show, and we're out, people.